Hello and welcome to Just Another Guy Talking About Stuff. Today we're talking to my friend Kevin Quinn, professional wrestling referee. If you guys know me, I've been a professional wrestling referee for 17 years, since 2004. I met Quinn, about 6 years ago, I believe?
Roughly, yeah.
Right in the
It's
locker
about
room of
right.
Northeast Wrestling was where we first met.
Yep.
And I thought we'd sit down, have a chat, let him talk about his experiences in professional wrestling a little bit. I want to give a quick shout out to Nick Kurtz. He interviewed me yesterday, so this kind of gave me the idea. You check his YouTube channel out. So, first, Kev, how you been? How's the quarantine treating you?
It's I'm doing the best I can.
I hear you.
Doing the best I can, and I'm glad the gym's back open.
Yes. If you guys don't know, Kevin's from Massachusetts, and he's a big gym guy. So,
Yes,
show him the biceps, Kev. Give him the pose. There it is. All right. So first off, what got you into professional wrestling? What sparked your love of professional wrestling? When did you first start, getting into like watching wrestling and being a fan?
Mm-hmm. I've been watching wrestling kind of all my life, ever since I can remember. I used to get excited for Saturday mornings when it was on. I would, for years and years, and I've watched every WrestleMania. Excuse me, watched every WrestleMania. I've always had a fond passion for it, and it was always the stories that kept me coming back. Saturday morning, it's a 2 hour show. I don't even remember, it was so long ago, but remember the show would end with they're fighting, boom, black. It's like,
Turning back on what's going to happen next week.
All week you're waiting for next week to come, and just years and years and years, and it's just I love watching wrestling. I mean, in my first live match, ready for this one? I might shock some people with this one. Bruno Sammartino versus Pedro Morales in the Boston Garden.
In Boston Garden. What year was that, Kevin?
I have no idea.
Give a guess.
If I had to guess, I would say probably 75.
Wow.
77 maybe, but in that area, Yeah.
That's great. The Boston Garden. How was that? I've never been.
That's when it was the old guard, and that's when it was pretty cool, man. Yeah.
Awesome.
It was nostalgia and just really, really cool.
Yeah, I feel like back then too, to talk about stories, I feel like they used to be able to draw the storylines out a little bit more. Used to have a little bit more involvement in stories, just because everything wasn't moving so fast. I feel like nowadays everything just bang, bang, bang. Everything moves so fast. You're on to the next thing. Back then, because of the way it was structured.
These 3 to 6 month programs years ago, like maybe a month nowadays.
Well, it's the way it was structured, right? It was the way you moved around, and you had programs that moved around.
I think you said it exactly.
You didn't have weekly 9 hours of TV that you had to fill, right?
Right.
That's great.
Exactly.
So personally, how did you get your start in professional wrestling?
How I got into wrestling was through a guy by the name of Jason Rumble. I actually met him at the gym, and when I say met him at the gym, I bumped into him. We both had our headphones on. We were going for a preacher curl. We both went for it at the same time, and the pre-workout's kicking, and we sat down. Whoa, hey, sorry, man, and we worked out together, and I saw him a couple times, and I just started talking to him, the gym stuff, and all of a sudden one day he said, "Hey kid, you like wrestling?" And I'm like, "Oh, I love it. I've been watching it all my life." He's like, "Come with me." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm walking towards what I know as the leg room. There's a big garage door. The garage door opens up, and guess what's there? The wrestling ring. So he ran his school out of there for a while. So he's like, "Get in there and jump around or whatever." So I think I probably bump better then than I do now. Because I didn't know anything. I just got in there and fell around. It was really cool. Yeah, and then I met him, and he was talking to me about it. And then I'm sure a lot of people know Gino Martino.
Yes, he's a Guinness World Record holder, I believe.
Yeah, right, Hammerhead, I think they call him.
Yes.
Okay, so I actually sold him toilet paper. I worked for a janitorial company selling janitorial supplies, and he was a customer. So I'm sitting in his office, and I look over like this, and I'm like, And I'm in the middle of a meeting now, and I just totally stray off. And what's sitting there is a wrestling poster for NECW in the Quincy Armory. So I look over,
I've
and
been there.
again now I'm right in the middle of a business meeting. I just totally switched channels, and I'm like, "So what's this all about?" He's like, "Well, all right, well, okay." And he told me about it, and he's like, "Come on down, tell him I sent you at the door." And I'm not even sure I paid the first time, to be quite honest with you. I think he got me in, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice.
And then one thing led to another, and I went to NECW for a long time, and I got to know people, and I ended up. I don't even know if I told you this. I probably have, but there was a tag team. I think they were called the Naturals. It was Scott Osborne and Brandon Locke. And for some reason, Scott Osborne every week used to just pick me out and mess with me. Just I don't know. So I
Yeah, I think you did tell me this story. Yeah,
used to just start posing against him. So every week he would come out and just start posing. It got to the point where I think I'm pulling back the fourth wall a little bit, so I'll keep it a little pulled back. They would come over to me and tell me, say, "Hey, he's up next. Get ready." Dude, I would sit there. I would do push-ups. He'd come out, and I'd go at him again. And then Brandon Locke would come over, and I'd go like this. I'm like, and he'd look at me, and he'd go like this. It'd be like, you know,
yeah.
meaning I'm doing steroids. You know what I mean? So I went there, and I did the shows for a while, and I just traveled around. I found another show up in West Newburyport. No, West Newbury, Mass. It was actually called Wrestling Star Wars back then, which is now APW.
Okay.
And I did some shows. Excuse me, I took my son. We went every month religiously. And I was a little bit bigger back then. I was more into bodybuilding. And I got there early one day, and he says to me, he says, "You're here every month." And he goes, "You pay every month." He goes, "You want to do a little bit of security?" He goes, "You and your son get in for free." He goes, "You get to sit front row, watch the show, have some fun." I'm like, "Hell yeah,
Yeah, why
why
not?
not?"
Right? Yeah,
So
get
I
the
used to be
opportunity.
a bouncer. I was a
So
bouncer years
you
ago.
even had the qualifications.
It was crazy, and I threw out two drunks, and next thing you know, they're like, "Whoa, wow!" So I just did that for a little bit, and it was actually Kevin Steele Security is what it was called. And there was a match with the late Big Woody against Joe Moakley, and it was a Newbury street fight. I forget exactly how it happened, but they came over to me and said, "Do you want to ref this?" And I said, "Ref that? I don't know what I'm doing." He goes, "It's a street fight. Count three, deal."
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I know what you're saying.
I'm like, okay. So I had gym pants on. They threw a ref shirt. And one of the funniest parts of the match, right? Now it's a street fight. Anything goes, as
No
you know.
rules.
Big Woody's got a trash can over. So I stand in front of him like, "Whoa, big guy." He says, "Greenie, get the out of my way." And the other ref is on the outside who was kind of helping. He pulls me out. He goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Get out of his way. He'll crack you in the head."
It's a street fight. He can knock you
Yeah.
out, and it's
Well,
totally legal.
then, Vinny, all kidding aside, after that happened, it clicked. I'm like, I've watched wrestling for 20 years. Like, this is a street fight. They beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
Excuse me, beat each other up, and then, when there's a
We're
pin, I
we're
count.
we're we're okay. We're okay for a little bit of cursing here. We're not. I
So
won't
now,
get held.
they're going every now. There wasn't many pins, but there was one or two, and then I'd be down one. Whoa! Then he didn't kick out. I'm like, you won,
There it is. We figured it out.
dude. And it went from there, and then I started reffing there, and then I went down to NCW in Norwood with John Casey. I worked down there for a while, and then did some Beyond tapings, and then it just took off. Like, what it was too is I met JT Dunn early on in my career, and he took me and helped me get some bookings,
Yeah.
and it helped a
I tell
lot.
you what, it always helps to have a traveling partner, and especially someone as talented as JT Dunn is going to open some doors.
Yep.
Because
And then now that I've been in it for 9 years, and I heard this right from Brian Malonis. Brian Malonis said when I was younger in the business, if you will, he said, "I'm going to teach you something really fast about traveling. Traveling is all about the car you're in and the people that are in it." He goes, "If you're in a shit car with people that aren't paying gas and this and that," he goes, "you're going to hate it." He says, "Make sure you're in the right cars." And And luckily enough, man, I've been in the best cars. I've been in the
And
best cars.
I think everyone listening will realize that everyone with the best stories always has the best careers. And that's where the stories are made, aren't they? Isn't or in the car
And you have
rides.
to catch me, dude. I wander, so we'll start talking about something, and I'll just pick up something from
That's all right.
before.
I'll keep you on track, Quinny.
But real quick, getting back to like how I started, real quick. I started to get a little heat from other refs because I wasn't trained. So
It's a good segue actually, because
so I
my
looked up
next
Jason.
question was going to be, I know you got a lot of experience at name's blanking me right now. What was the name of the school? Northeast Wrestling. What was the
New
name of your
England
school
Pro
that you trained
Wrestling
at?
Academy.
Northeast. I'm sorry. New
New
England.
England Pro Wrestling Academy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where you first started training, correct?
No, when I first started training was the Bell Time Club.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's talk about this now.
sure. This is a good, nice lead in. So I called Rumble up and I'm like, hey man, I'm getting a lot of heat out here. And he goes, what's up? And I said, I'm getting a lot of heat from these reps because I'm not training. So you run a school, right? He goes, yeah. I go, how do we do this? He goes, well, you come down. Okay. And Rumble's like a legit brother to me, but he's been in the ring training with me maybe 2 or 3 times. Bo Douglas was my trainer. And Bo Douglas, I credit Bo Douglas with a lot of things, the way he helped me, the way that he taught me right from the beginning. A few things that he taught me. You wipe your feet, you're respectful, all this other stuff. And he taught me a lot about traveling, if you will. Be careful, where you stay, who you stay with, and keep yourself out of trouble. Kind of trying to dance around that one a little bit, but
I
he
hear
taught
you.
me all, you know what I mean? He
Hang
taught
out
me
with the
all.
right. Get involved with the right people.
Yeah, I mean, he taught me all those things that like I still remember to this day, like about traveling, uh, the locker room etiquette and stuff like that. The locker room's full. Mike Bennett comes in, Eddie Edwards comes in, or somebody like that. Hey, wait, I've done it. No one's ever taken the chair, but
Right, but that's the right thing to do. And I
yeah,
think
I did it
what a
with
lot of people
Darian
don't
King.
what I think a lot of people don't realize about wrestling training is it's not just the moves themselves and how to hit the ropes and how to take bumps and how to sell things. It's a lot of that extra stuff that people don't realize that's going on, and you'll never know until you actually get into it and start doing it.
It's those little things that
And
make.
those are the best. Those are the best trainers, are the ones that can pass that along to you, like how to act not just in the ring but outside the ring, and
Yep.
especially in the back of the locker room and the car rides.
Yeah, and Bo was really good at that. I reach out to him to this day. And then I was there for probably 2.5 years, and I just noticed it just it, I don't know how to explain it. Um, I just felt like I had reached, I don't want to say my limit, but I just felt like I wasn't, something was missing, and I don't know what it was. So somebody had told me about New England Pro Wrestling Academy and Brian Fury, and I messaged him and I said, hey man, I heard about your school. How do we do this? He goes, I'll see you Tuesday. That was it. That was it. And I went, and I shook his hand, and 20 minutes into the class, I stopped, I got out of the ring, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. Where do I sign up? He goes, we haven't even finished. I go, I don't need to. Like, let's go. And I'll tell you what, man, a lot of things, people may think a lot of things or whatever, but me and him, he was good to me. He still is to this day. It was always a handshake deal, and whatever arrangements we had made. And all I'll tell you, man, is he took really good care of me. Took really good care of me.
I've always liked Brian. We've
You know,
we've worked together a bunch of times, and
oh
I've
yeah,
never had a bad thing to say about him.
yeah. He always jokes around whenever I would say you. He'd go, Lax. He goes, he's still doing this shit. And he knows Eric pretty good too, I guess.
Oh yeah, I mean, Brian's been around for a long time. Eric's been doing this longer than I have.
He
So,
actually thought Eric was tired.
do we ever really retire though?
Well, no. And according to Dijak, right? It's funny if I could just tear off for a second. I was talking, I traveled a lot with Dijak. I was very fortunate to do that. And I said to him, I said, geez, maybe someday, I'll just pack it in and retire. You're a ref. You'll never retire. I go, no, I know, but he goes, no. He goes, you can only retire from something when you've made enough money to live comfortably for the rest of your life. So you're not ever going to retire. You'll just leave.
Not on the independent referee salary, but
I tell you, he was like a big brother to me, even though he was probably half my age, man. I used to get a group text. Yeah, meet at the Auburn Mall at 2, and don't give me any shit. You're driving. Okay.
You got it. You
Yep.
don't argue with guys who are 6'7".
Yeah, no.
Learn that pretty quick.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy going to wrestling school, dude. Like I do. And the thing that freaked me out the most, and I just to this day I don't get it. I was the only ref there. Every now and then Jack Hill would come up and would train, and we would have an awesome time. It would be great. I trained with this other kid from Nawa, that one up in Maine. Whatever. He didn't like the way I was trying to teach him, so he said I was too rough and quit. So
too rough.
Me, right?
Yeah,
me.
Kevin Quinn, too rough.
He went to Fury. He's like, this kid's too tough, and he's like, Quinn? Like, he goes, I haven't even got.
He wasn't blind enough.
But I think it's because he was more of a backyarder, if you will, with all due respect, and he's been doing it for 10 years, so he's been doing it his way. And then I get it.
But I think a lot of you should be credited for your work ethic, because you do, you've been there's not a lot of referees who have been working 9 years who still enjoy to go to wrestling school as much as you do.
Thanks, so I like it, because you know why, man. And I used to say this at the end of every class. The way that he taught these kids, like the way that he broke it down, I'm telling you, I could wrestle. Like the way that he just did it. And I used to say to him at the end of every class, I'd go up to him and do the same thing. Pat him on the shoulder, shake his hand, and say, thank you. And he's like, you should thank me every time. I'm like, well, I'm going to thank you every time, because I would always learn something, whether it was something small, like corners and stuff like that. As a referee, it's important. They just get in the corner and then, that's 1, 2, 3. They haven't even,
let that thing's time to simmer, right? Let it think time to build up.
There's work to be done.
Talk about breaking the fourth wall.
Right.
But if you can go back now to that time when you first started training,
yes,
get in your time machine. Kevin Quinn goes in his time machine and talks to younger Kevin Quinn.
Yeah.
9 years ago. What advice do you give yourself?
Oh man, the first piece of advice I would give myself, and I'm gonna be 100% straight with you. I would have learned to bump a lot better than I do now. That was the one thing that I was always not that good at, and I worked at it, and I just had trouble with it. And if I went back, if I could turn the wall back and go back 9 years, I had a conversation with Jason Rumble one time, and I said, dude, just beat me up, like just teach me how to do this. And he says, when you're ready to do it, just tell me. And I never told him. So I'd go back and tell him I'm ready, dude, because I know what he's going to do. Because the last time I told him, he picked me up and body slammed me. He just literally, I says, let's do it. Okay, boom. And I took a great bump. And he said, because you didn't think about it. And that's why.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah. You think too much about it, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, once you start learning how to do it without thinking, then it's a cakewalk. But yeah, if you think about it too much, or you're too stiff, or you're too, you're thinking about falling and hurting yourself, it's not going to work out.
You and Eric take very good bumps.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, and other than that,
we have a different style, I think, of bumping as referees than the wrestlers do. I think we've talked about that before. Is more of a crumble than a hard bump. It's just about being safe. Really.
That's how I met DC Dillinger. I've told this story on a bunch of podcasts. That's how I met him. I was at training at Bell Time Club, and Dan Terry they were trying to teach me to bump, and Dan Terry's like, I'm going to hit you and you take a flat back bump. So I'm trying to do it, and of course the elbow, whatever. And DC gets in the ring. Now, I don't know this guy from a hole in the wall. I have no idea who he is. He goes like this. He goes, "What's up, Stripes, DC?" I go, "Hi, nice to meet you."
Hi.
He goes, "Yeah, well, yeah. I'm gonna do something right now. If I punch you in the face in a match and you take a flat back bump, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to punch you in the face again." He goes, "Wrestlers bump, refs crumble. Good luck, kid."
Yeah,
I've never forgot that.
It's a bit of advice, yeah.
Yeah, I get excited.
So now we touched on this a little bit. Then, what's the most challenging part about being a referee to you? What challenges you the most in the ring?
That's a good question. I think that's a really good question.
I'm not even saying a weakness per se. It's just more like what do you find challenging? Where do you find something that?
Oh, okay, I got you. I find it challenging to make sure that I'm at the pin where I'm supposed to be.
Okay.
And I find challenging sometimes, and I have a bad habit of it. And let me tell you something. This is where Fury used to get pissed. He used to slam the mat every goddamn time. I don't know why. Whenever there's like a corner pin or whatever, instead of coming around, jumping around, I just drop. So the pin's happening now. I'm over here, 1, 2, whatever, and I'm looking at ass cheeks. You know what I'm saying? I should take the extra second, either jump or slide or whatever the case is, to get into the place, because, again, you got to be careful what we say, but nobody's going to get mad at me if I take a split extra second to get into the right spot.
No, and most people won't even notice, and it's gonna look more realistic.
But that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Yeah.
Cool.
To myself.
What's most rewarding about being a referee?
Oh man, those deep falsies, man. Those deep falsies, man. Dijak just picked up Keith Lee for the Spirit. Boom, boom. 1, 2.
Everyone thinks it's over. Right?
Oh, including me.
Sometimes I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna say something right now. It might get a little heat, but sometimes I know it's the wrestlers doing it, but sometimes I get a little bit of feeling like that. I that was part of my count.
Dude, you know one
thing. But sometimes you just get that crowd reaction, and it's almost like I want to be a part of that. Like
you don't have to tell me. You know the one thing Fury would get pissed at me, and this would happen in Bethany, Connecticut, and let's just say that Fury hasn't been in Bethany, Connecticut in quite a while, let's just say. So he'd find out about it, right? Let's just say Bacon does his powerbomb gimmick, right? And Vinny, you can help me out here, man. People think that I just extra jump. Sometimes that shit throws you off.
That's you do get a spring off the.
And sometimes I might add to it a little bit.
Exaggerate, but those. Those some of those bigger guys hit that mat, and those boards pop up. They can pop you up.
And we went over that in class to make sure I did it right.
What's that?
No jump,
to stay in the.
I'd literally just stand there. You know what I mean? But and the other, what the other rewarding thing is too, Vin, is when you're in a huge match, and for some reason, I'm not just picking Keith Lee and Dijak because they're on TV. It's because they're actually two of my favorites.
I did one of their matches. It was very good.
But the best part about it, man, is when that big son of a gun Keith Lee comes over, pats you on the back end, gives you a good game, puts you on the shoulder, and says, "That's what I'm talking about." That's when you get goosebumps and say, "That's why we do this."
Right.
Right. Or on the other hand, you get someone that comes back, "What the ref? Where were you?"
Hopefully not too often. Hopefully not too often.
No.
Hopefully not too often. But yeah, because that's because we are part of it. We're like I said, we're not the stars, right? We're not.
Edit that part out. No, actually, no. We're the third person in the ring, but we're not the third person in the match.
That'd be the fans, I would say.
Right.
But yeah, you're still a part of that, and it's still really rewarding to be part of a really good match.
I said that right.
Say again?
Hopefully I said that right. We're the third person in the ring, but we're not the third person.
I like that quote. I don't think anyone would argue with that quote. I like that quote. So, what else would you like to accomplish going forward in your career? What is your
Well,
ultimate goals here in
my
professional
ultimate
wrestling?
goal is to get on TV, but I've been told by we could have a laundry list here. We were fortunate enough to have Steven Regal at a chaotic show. It was great. He was the guest GM for the night.
Oh, that's cool. I've never met Regal.
What
He was always one of my favorites.
you know? What's
He was
funny,
one of
man?
those underrated guys who could work. And if you really liked wrestling, you like Steven Regal.
Absolutely. And every time that I'm lucky enough to meet these guys, they're always taller than I think they are.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, that's the thing on TV.
Like,
When everyone's 6'5" and they're up against a guy who's 6'10", they're gonna look
right,
tiny. But when you're,
right.
guys, I mean, how tall are you? You're taller than me. I'm only 5'8". You got a couple inches
I'm
on me, I
about
think.
5'9".
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you meet these guys, like the guys like even like Matt Hardy, where you look on TV and he looks
Yep.
he looks tiny, and you get up to him, so you're a lot taller than I thought.
Right. So we were lucky enough to have him. So Fury comes over to me and I says, you don't even have to ask me. I already asked him if he'll watch my match. And I came back through the curtain and he's like this. He's like, how old are you? I'm like, I literally just went like that.
Should have lied.
I mean, yeah, but then if I get the opportunity to go down there and then I lie, and you know what I mean. So, but you're right, I should have. And I let's just say I was 50 at the time.
I just went gray early.
No,
But you didn't have the beard at the time either, so you don't even know.
no, let's just say I was 50 at the time. And I said something. I said, I believe him. And he starts laughing. He goes, come on, how old are you? I told him. He said, oof. And I said, and he goes, what are your goals? And I said, I want to work for you. And you know what he said to me? He said to me, he goes, well, I can give you the office answer or I can shoot straight with you. And I says, I'll take the latter. And he says, Vince likes the younger guys. And I said, okay, I appreciate that. And then he looked at me and he says, but do not stop what you're doing. He says, you're good at what you do. You're authoritative out there. You take control. Do not stop what you're doing. Just because you can't go there doesn't mean you can't go someplace else.
This is true.
Right?
And it doesn't mean you can't. Once I stop having fun, that's when I'm done, and I'm not done having fun yet.
And then we were again lucky enough to have him at a seminar at our school the next day. And he walked in and it was awesome. He looks over the crowd. He says, hey, Kevin, how are you? He remembered my name, which to me impressed me because the guy meets thousands of people.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just, it was good. It was good. But my ultimate goal is, to kind of get on TV, dude. I got to be honest with you. I'm going to be totally straight with you. I thought when AEW was coming out,
here's the shoot. We're getting shoot.
I thought I might get a shot. Considering I was in a particular match with this particular guy that it was both of our biggest matches of our career. So I kind of thought maybe that might help.
You had it in.
And I kind of worked with him in Las Vegas when we went out to that StarCast.
You never know.
But you know what, though? I'll tell you right now. I finally come to terms that if I don't go back, which could be a possibility, I've had a 9-year run, getting in at 45 years old, that, dude, I could have never even dreamed of. I don't want to name drop because people get mad at me, but I've driven with some people, man, and I don't care if they get mad. When I got to drive with Ric Flair, are you shitting me?
Why would someone get mad about you dropping that name?
Oh, yeah, you know.
Because anyone else who rode a Ric Flair would drop that name.
Right. Dude, it was awesome. It was just incredible. I figure he's going to get in the back seat on his phone. He gets in the front seat, shuts off the radio, tell me your backstory. I'm like, oh, shit. But anyway, that my ultimate goal, I want one TV match. You know why? Because this is I've never said this to anybody but Lisa. If all the bigger players and the bigger companies don't think that I'm good enough to be there, then I don't want to do this. But on the other hand, I've always been taught, as long as you're having fun, it's fun. When you're not having fun, go home. Guess what? I'm having
Still
fun.
here, still having fun. That's the way I look at things, Kev. You know, when I stop having
Dude,
fun.
dude, I love NEW and Lombardi. I love working for Lombardi, even though he wants me to shave this, but I'm not.
Well,
Uh,
to be fair, I told you I want you to shave it too, but
but I'm,
it's
when I
totally
get
your call.
when I get signed, I'll shave it. But dude, when I go to NEW, I used to sit out in the hall, remember? And then all of a sudden, I'm looking around. I'm like, wait a minute. So I ventured into the other room, and I was just thinking about this the other night. We all have our own, me, Eric, you, and Kurt. We all have like our own.
We just got a little space together. Yeah, yeah.
Because even if I'm late and you guys are there before me, my spot is still there. Dude, that's freaking awesome. Like, I don't know, man. Like, but I think part of it too is like my friendship with you, my friendship with Eric. Um, we're friends, like, you know what I mean. We're
Well,
friends outside of wrestling. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
well,
I
we
mean,
always have a good time together.
yeah, we live a long way away, but you know,
That's when we get to see each other, though, right? We get to hang
right.
out,
That's what I enjoy about it.
especially some of
And
these long road trips. We get to
yeah, and
we get to hang out with.
Kurt, he's awesome.
And Kurt's
You
always
know,
Kurt's always a great guy.
I get a nice surprise for him at our whenever we're back in Bethany. So
Awesome.
that'll
I'm
be
sure he's
fun.
looking forward to it. But
Yeah.
Kurt Adonis, real quick. I'll just tell a quick story about Kurt because I love Kurt, and Kurt was wrestling for Northeast Wrestling when I was in college and going to Northeast Wrestling shows before I was a referee, and he's one of the few things that stand out in my memory about those shows because he was just such a character. I mean, he still knows how to he still has a presence in the ring. You know, even as a ring announcer, he's just great charisma and just
Yeah,
knows how to get that audience involved.
he really does, man.
It's you know, it's not something that people teach often, right? It's
Yeah.
something you either
When we
have it's either something you have or you don't have.
when we were traveling, he showed me some matches like for early on in his career. He looks the same,
He
man.
does
Like
too. That's
he really
100% true.
And then I'm watching
The
him
nicest
wrestle.
teeth in pro wrestling.
Oh man, what the
Got
heck?
to smile.
I'm telling you, he has better teeth than a dentist. But the other thing too is that dude will give you the shirt off of his
Oh
back.
yeah.
You know, he's a great guy. You know, we'll talk about Northeast Wrestling for a second. That's a big company. I think a lot. I don't think people sometimes realize how long Northeast Wrestling's been around and the matches that have been in Northeast Wrestling. How long
Oh,
has it been?
the
What,
people are coming
20, 25, right?
over 25 years now. Yeah, I think they just had the 25th year anniversary.
And Mike's owned it the whole time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
As far as I know, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
right. That's
Yeah, like I
crazy.
said, I went to college in Connecticut between 98 and 2002, and I was going to
Yep.
Northeast Wrestling shows back then.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What's your favorite uh what's your favorite show to ref? Meaning indoor, outdoor, uh
I do like the outdoor stadium shows because of the crowds.
yep,
Um, I don't like it when it's too hot though.
yeah. Dude, I go tanning. I've got my head burnt, man.
The worst part about those is when you start sweating and you got sunscreen on, the sunscreen's getting in your eyes,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
can't
Well,
see
I
what's
got
going
at
on.
least you got a little hair. I got nothing, man. It's straight. You know, but I'll tell you this, right? You know what my favorite part of professional wrestling is?
What's this?
The meet and greets.
Meeting the fans and working
Those
with the
meet and greets
talent.
that we have, like at those stadium shows when they're just miles long, those are the best. And the funniest part about the meet and greets that I've never understood to this day, right? And I'm sure you've experienced it too. Somebody sits in line for 2 hours, right? Then they get up to the table and they're kind of just walking by there and you start, hey, what do you want to do? I just want to, get a picture and an autograph. You'd be like, okay, that'll be $40. What? What do you mean? It's like, dude, you just waited in line for 2 hours? Like you don't know that like you have to pay?
And there are plenty of signs out there, but
I mean,
that's another
but
story.
anyway, a lot of
So
times when that happens, the worker or whatever will see it and they'll kind of just jump in and. But
do
anyway,
their
I
thing.
love the meet and greets.
It is fun. You get to meet the crowd, and they're usually really happy to be there, and
Yep.
Get to chat with some talent who you might not normally get to spend time with. So that's another
Right.
plus, definitely.
Not for nothing. You and I could sell some 8x10s if we put them out there.
Well, yeah, plug your shirts. I saw you got some new shirts out.
Yeah, not
Where,
yet. Not yet.
oh, they're
Yep.
not out yet. Where are we gonna be able to find these shirts?
We're gonna hopefully be able to find them on Pro Wrestling Tees. I'm working on that right now.
Awesome. So keep your
Yeah,
eye out for
it's
that.
not definite yet, though.
Well, hopefully I'm not giving anything away, but
Yeah, no.
yeah. So look out for that. So do you want? Hi, Lisa.
You can say hi. This is my fiance, Lisa. She's the glue that
she
holds this
she
machine
she
together.
she keeps Quinn sane.
She sure does.
That's
She
great.
sure does. This is my little buddy. Come here. It's my little buddy.
All
All
right.
right. Yeah. You don't want any.
See, another good segue. We can because I wanted to say, what else do you want to tell the audience that you would like to tell them about Kevin Quinn? What do you want them? What do you want to
Well,
take away? What
I just
should the
want
audience take
to
away by
say,
knowing about Kevin Quinn?
well, I mean, I have a lot of support out there, and I appreciate everything that everybody does. Going back a few years ago when I got hurt in Ohio, and everybody and Dijak and a few other people put a fundraiser together, and the fans stepped up and talk about overwhelming, man. The only thing I can say is I've had a great time. Hopefully, I'll be back for a few matches, and just thank you.
All right. Well, we can't wait to see. I know I can't wait to see you again. I'm sure the
Back
wrestling
at
fans like seeing you in the ring. We're all itching to get back. That's for sure.
I can't wait, man. I got to give JT Dunn one of those elbows back. I'm just kidding. It's funny. I'll just real quick. I would be willing to bet you. I'm not sure if it's JT or if it's Dijak who I've ref the most for. I mean, I literally have probably ref for JT 50, 60 times, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I always wish I kept a log. I never kept a log of my matches.
Austin, Ace Austin, right? That's right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I apologize for that. I met him at Chaotic. That's where I first met him. Dude, he had this little notebook, and he came over to me. And he goes, "Where are we right now?" I said, "Woburn, Mass." Okay. He goes, "It's Chaotic, right?" I go, "Yep." He goes, "Who's my opponent?" I told him. He goes, "What's the date?" I told him. He had every single thing from his very first match. Let me ask you real quick. How many matches do you think you've reffed?
I want to say probably close to 1,000. It's got to be 17 years.
No,
I've taken breaks like a little bit where I haven't really worked
yeah.
continuously. But yeah, that's the thing with a referee too. You don't realize you do sometimes 4, sometimes 6, sometimes 8 or 10 matches a night.
Yeah.
We've both been on shows where we did that.
When I did my first Beyond Wrestling taping, I did 18 matches.
Yeah. So
And
that tally can build up pretty quick.
And I went up to him and I said, "Dude, I got nothing. I got nothing left. Like,
I'm shot. Take me
we're
off.
done. You know?
The towel.
Yeah, dude. This has been really fun. Like, I'm amped up right now. Like, I'm amped up right now.
Almost after a show and you get fired up and you can't sleep, right?
Yes, you get that, right?
Well, unfortunately, we're almost out of time.
All right.
Give them your socials. What social
see.
Medias? Not your social security number.
Oh, okay. glad you said that. Facebook, it's Kevin Quinn. Let's see. Instagram, it's Pat's. Everything else, it's Pat's Fan. Everything else is Pat's Fan.
Just Pat's Fan?
Yep.
PATSFAN? All right. Yep. You look up Kevin Quinn.
Yeah. Twitter is ref. Excuse me. I'm sorry. It's Ref Quinn.
Ref Quinn. REFQUINN.
Yep. Ref Quinn.
That's what I had as your Instagram and Twitter account. So.
Yeah, and then Pat's Fan is the new thing you young kids use, Twitch. And can somebody teach me how to use it?
I'll let you know. We'll get you stream. We'll get you up and streaming. Do you play video games, Quinn? Which no.
No, I don't play any.
Well,
unfortunately,
I'll figure out. Oh yeah. I got the PlayStation 4. I've been playing Skyrim on my Twitch account, Referee Vinny
I have
Lax.
a PlayStation 2.
What's that?
I have a PlayStation 2.
There you go. You can stream that. You gotta get a video card and set it up, and you can be like a
Yeah,
classic gamer.
you lost me at setup.
No,
But Vinny, I really appreciate it, man.
I got one segment left.
Okay.
I got the quick five, and then we're gonna take you
Good.
out. Quick five. All right.
All right.
Just rattle off the first thing that comes to your mind. Ready?
Let's go.
It's called favorites. Ready? Favorite movie.
Roadhouse.
Favorite car.
Chevelle.
Favorite protein bar. Flavor.
Cookie dough.
Favorite song to dance to.
Favorite song to dance to?
Slow
Let's
or
Dance.
fast.
Let's Dance. Well, actually, One in a Million by I forget his name. I like that song.
One in 1A. And last, your favorite cheat meal.
My favorite cheat meal. Oh, Pizza.
The pizza. Awesome.
Pizza.
So thanks everybody. That was Kevin Quinn. You can find him on Twitter and Instagram at RefQuinn. And hopefully we'll be back at some wrestling shows, and we'll see you counting to 3 and yelling at people.
I hope so, man.
All right, take care, everybody.
You too, bud. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Thanks for watching this interview with referee Kevin Quinn. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all those YouTube things. Until next time, witty sign-off catchphrase.